Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Chimera Cave and Blade. I'm your host, and I'm too busy laughing to give a witty intro this time, so I'll give it at the end. Let's go around the table and do our introductions. First up is Yolanda.
Hello there, everybody. I am Angela. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm going to be playing Yolanda Maga, who is Master of Illusions and also playing with the Learned and Hopeful playbooks, and has recently been moving away from Illusionist to just be General Bamf, because apparently that's the character arc I've chosen.
Honestly, any arc that ends with you becoming Bamf is perfect. So speaking of perfect, great transition me. Next up, Morgan.
I don't know about perfect. Anyway, I'm Morgan, and I'm going to be playing Gallivander today. The opposite of perfect. We both use they them pronouns. I always forget to do this. And they use the weapon and devout playbooks, and they're trying to find their way after having made a lot of violent mistakes earlier in their life.
Perfect. I can't use the same transition again. So imagine I said a really nice and witty thing about Alex.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex. I use he, him pronouns. I'm going to be playing Tamal, who uses she, they pronouns, and she is the Protector and Innovator playbooks.
Perfect. And then last, and you know what? Just today, not least. V.
I'm going to pretend like you just said the kindest, most positive thing. Oh, thank you, Amr. That was just so wonderful. I could never expect a better intro than that. Hello, I am V Zelda. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm playing and O uses she pronouns. And I'm really gonna have to work to get back into her vibe because I don't remember her. And O is always joined by her wonderful octopus named 8. 8's pronouns are he, him, and that I can still remember. And I'm looking forward to this.
Alright, now that buzzing is done, hi, I'm Amraraz. I use any pronouns except he. As you can see, hopefully, we have captions this time, which is also the source of our weird energy because we had to have moments of silence before we started the recording, so the captions cleaned up, and all of us sitting here trying not to talk and make any noise was
Impossible. I can't do it.
Anyways, that weird energy works because today's session is hopefully going to be a little bit more light after last time. Hey, it's not like I can control that or anything. What am I, like the story weaver or something? So anyways.
Press X to doubt.
Weave our dark, unfortunate fates.
So, I hope that you have tailored your capes. Sorry, I hope that you've tailored your blades and forged your capes today. Because it's time for another session. It was so bad that even I messed it up in my own head, but it's fine. Last time, as mentioned, we had our emotional journey through the Wandering Temple, where each person confronted either an illusion or a reality that they needed to come to terms with. Whether by choice or by the fact that there's now a god inhibiting their soul and they have to come to terms with dealing with that at some point.
It was just Tuesday.
It's just right. And they ended it with actually repairing the temple, finding within it a workshop used to create constructs. Well, at least Gally and Tamal found that. Yolanda and O were off in a bird room, having fun with birds.
I forgot about the birds, yeah.
Never forget
yes.
about the birds. They live in my
We were
heart.
having the time.
They fly on.
I perhaps have never felt this way before.
Muting myself.
So, I am going to start us off where it's most dramatically intense and appropriate, with the birds. Yolanda, how's the bird room treating you?
Not me so far about all of these words. I feel like I learned a lot, but none of it really kind of stayed into my brain, and all that talking you did has already left my ears. What did you tell me?
First off, has anyone else had slight trouble hearing
Yeah.
me throughout that?
Yeah, it almost
the
feels like
audio-
you have a noise gate on B because it like keeps
I
cutting.
do. I do. My noise gate is set really, really high because I have a fan on.
that would make
I can
sense.
turn it down a wee bit. But I also
Zoom
don't
does
want.
a decent job even if you turn it down.
Okay, we'll see if that helps at all.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
nothing.
it's
Yeah, it's sounding a lot better now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm-
the
cool, cool.
captioner
I'm
caught
not
that
hearing
perfectly, by
anything
the way. So
back.
if you want to
I
give us
just-
another take.
so I didn't catch quite all of that.
Mhm.
So if you could,
So, like, yeah. Yolanda, what have you taught me about birds? I feel like you've said a whole lot of things, but sometimes all of your words go inside of one ear and escape out the other, and I don't really retain any of the information.
do they go out one ear? Do they go into or to
That one.
eight? Pardon.
Oh, they probably just go to 8. That's my name. Oh, you're so close. I get it how you can mix us up. We kind of look alike.
There's a part of me that feels like I've just made like 3 faux pas in the span of like 2 seconds, and actual me is hurting now. I think, thinking this through, social faux pas aside, she would have just, as a quick reminder, mentioned that like she'd just finished going over the fact that like the bird that she's seeing, the phoenix like bird, was something that she hadn't seen since she was a kid. So I think she's mostly in a mode of like when it's the equivalent of like if you're someone who grew up playing in like arcades or something, and then it's been like 10 years since you've been in one, and then you see one that's like fully operational, you're just like, I'm not leaving this for like 6 hours. It's like, but you don't have any coins. It doesn't matter. I will make coins right now. Somebody change this. I don't care what it costs. I think she's sort of in that kind of mode of like, she is paying attention to you because she appreciates the company and someone sharing this with her. I think she's very, I think she's been very lonely for a very long time. Outside of like this group, but I think she's also like, it's the most kind of giddy. You've probably seen her too, where it's just like, burb friend, most radiant fiery burb friend, and also oh, don't touch that. Please don't touch the bird, because it
sure?
actually, well let me show you what happens. And then we would probably try and like just pull out like a stick from a like arcane focus component bag and get
Of
it
course.
near the bird, and the moment it gets too close, it's just ash.
Whoa.
I'm imagining it has like an aura of heat around it if you're not too careful.
Would that happen to me if I touch it?
Oh no, it would be far of
Oh, good. So
possibly
I can...
much slower,
Oh.
more painful, and we would have the smell of fish
Yeah.
or seafood.
Yeah.
I don't think which is to say, it would still be quite bad, but I don't.
Not terrible, though. Cooked seafood? Hey, it's so bad. But also, no, I don't want to be turned into seafood.
I also don't think 8 wants to be turned into our next.
No, you
animal.
know I don't. Shh, 8. Come on now. Okay, I'll just sit here nicely then. Hi, bird.
I think Yolanda does try actually though to reach out for the bird, because unlike she is far more able to manipulate energy and such,
Yes.
so it's not an immediate risk to her well-being.
Yes,
I love
yes.
that.
Yeah, I think you can do that without issues. I think that is well within your power.
Pit. Burp.
The burb gives you a one-eyed look of contentment and then continues pecking at some food.
What is more of this? Because I think we had described it as sort of like was it like third Jurassic Park big terrarium kind of like style, or like big open, like not bird cage, but more like open dome kind of like.
I think more the latter. We didn't get too much into the details, but it was based on sort of what Yolanda would find as a comfortable space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think she's just probably wandering around, and there's probably a whole bunch of other birds she's hearing like make calls all around here, and probably like a stump nearby that was like an exact replica of one spot she remembers being near her home. She would just sit down and she would try and draw stuff, and you always No, like probably even like Tamal has probably never seen Yolanda like draw stuff
Oh.
No.
ever. She's just like there, and she's like, it doesn't look very good because she's not practiced in a long time. But it's not because she doesn't have any talent. It's just she's out of practice. But she's
Okay.
like,
When you can bend reality to your real will, do you really need to like draw with a charcoal? Come on.
yes. Every
After all, that's how
musician
you
is
get
just
with.
like,
That's how you end up with charcoal drawings, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's no longer a serious episode. We're back to puns.
it's not, it's not cool drawings, Summer. It's chartreuse. Damn it.
Truce me, I would make a better pun if I could.
Damn it. I was like, if I did one back, I'd be fine. Nope.
Nope.
It's just volleyballing back shots back and forth
And I
to
never
one
lose.
another. But all of them are spikes somehow.
That's the chartreuse.
So as we get a quick shot of Yolanda starting to draw and unburdening herself in this apiary, we're gonna cut back to the workbench area. Tamal, Gally. Tamal, you definitely noticed this. Gally, you're around and looking. I don't know how aware you are of these types of materials to have realized that this was a place for making constructs or not yet. I will leave that up to you. But Tamal, you've definitely noticed. What is your reaction?
I am like slowly and reverently kind of approaching it. Normally Tamal has like big, heavy, almost ground shaking footsteps, and we can see that she's like stepping very carefully and lightly here as she's approaching.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah. What about you, Gally?
Yeah, Gallies definitely knows that it's not necessarily a workshop, but definitely something related to constructs, because without that knowledge, they wouldn't be here. But once they like they probably are behind Tamal because Tamal definitely figured that all together first, and then probably when Tamal started walking over, then Gally's brain started churning, and then when they put it together, they start following Tamal in. So Tamal's probably got like a couple extra minutes of like looking around, and then I'm realizing, oh, this is some sort of like construct thing, and so I'm like following in after her, and am looking specifically for basically looks like I'm hunting for something specific, but I definitely haven't found it yet.
Cool. And I think I'm trying to remember if there was a cool specific thing on a workbench that I was looking at last time. Something like that. And also our Adam and Sophia here with us.
Yes. I think Adam and Sophia are not particularly paying attention to their workshop now that like that whole debacle is behind y'all. I think the two of them have taken a moment because also the space they find most comforting is now being presented to them by the temple. And so I think they're just taking a moment to recover.
Cool. So what am I seeing as I'm going up here to the stuff?
Yeah. So the space itself, it looks currently hastily abandoned, I guess would be the way I would put it. Like whoever was working here is no longer using this space and left it not with enough time to clean up all their tools. I think like you know enough about crafting to know like what specific tools one might need, for example, to shape the inner forage of a construct that, especially one that is built like y'all, that has the same fire as even this temple, right? The types of tools needed to move that fire from the heart into a construct are mostly gone. Some of the infrastructure is there, like some of the pipes and some of the like transport mechanisms are around, but any of the valuable pieces that could have actually stored and transported the fire, that is taken. And you can see like a bunch of like regular hammers and stuff are left all around, but like a cast or two Some of the molds for different limbs are taken. Things that would be harder to replace. Whatever you could, if you had to grab stuff only in a hurry, they're gone.
Cool.
Okay.
So I think we see Tamal like walking through this, and she's trying to like piece together this sequence of events in her mind, moving in this slow, almost kind of dreamlike way. And we can see in her vision like a ghostly hand like setting down the hammer, and then she sort of like tries to do that thing I think she did before, where she tries to like kind of wind time backwards and like piece together like how the person was moving around the room, and like what it was that, you know, started them off on this abandoning their location and stuff, and trying to figure out what their deal was.
Cool. Why don't you go ahead and give me a roll specifically?
All right.
It sounds like
Wait,
you're trying to do a use your senses roll.
You got it.
Since I'm here, would I be able to help?
Yeah, if you want to help.
Nice. Okay. I was kind of going for a relaxed. Does that sound good?
That sounds reasonable. You have the time and the disposition to approach it from that angle. Yeah.
All right. That's an 8.
Okay.
And then do I add anything from help?
If Gally would like to help, you can take advantage. Oh, you don't have enough, unless Gally has a way to spend 2 friendship points on a roll, which I don't think Gally does.
I don't think no, I don't. I don't have any abilities like that.
Yeah. So, then, alas, in 8th, you just get to ask 1 question.
Okie dokie. Let's say, what can I use to figure out information about where they went? Is there a convenient calendar that is marked big important convention, July 25th, and it's double underlined?
Oh.
Construct Makers Union, party of 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's con because it's construct con, so it's con or con squared.
Okay. So, you start looking around this space, and you realize really quickly that this workspace isn't going to give you much. I mean, unless you want to add some more tools to your forage or whatever, it probably
Right.
doesn't give you much. But as you're doing that and you're trying to solve the problem, you feel the warmth of the temple's heart calling to you.
Ooh. I will pick up.
Well, the temple's heart is a fire like yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you feel that warmth specifically calling to you.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm into that. How do I respond to it? I guess I'll open up my tummy forge like grate a little bit and sort of let my warmth kind of radiate out towards it. Does that do anything?
Perfect. Yeah. So you do that, and some of the fire from your heart reaches out, and some of the fire from its heart reaches out. And when they touch, you are transported for a moment.
Ooh.
You are the temple itself. Your consciousness is merged for a second. And you can see its memories as it shows you what it saw way back when. Well, way back when is relative because its conception of time is different than ours, and also it does not
Right.
particularly convey that. It just conveys that this is a memory that happened at some point in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because to the temple, there's only what was and what is. And so, you see a person, or see it in the way the temple does, which is to say, you feel their figure, you feel their motion as they move throughout. What, you thought I was going to give you a face?
I would have been surprised.
However, this might not mean much to you, but you have a sense for what their signature is like, some sort of magical identification, maybe? Something you'll have to ask Yolanda about. It's a feeling to you. It feels like, as you're going through its memories, you can almost feel what you feel like to the temple. And it isn't the way we tend to perceive things whether it is by sight or by touch or by hearing or by really any of our normal senses. It is some intrinsic magical sense. And you store that on for later, but what you feel is this figure moving through the temple. There's an urgency as they grab a bunch of pieces, break a few others, and then depart. And then you're outside the temple. And what you see is a snowy land. You don't know where it is because the temple doesn't really know what we address these places as. But you see spires of ice and sand intermingled into the heavens.
Ooh.
And then
Cool.
you're back to yourself.
Nice. And I think I wordlessly just sit down at the little workbench and grab like a sheet of the drafting paper because I am great at drawing, very steady hand made of stone, and start just like laying out a very slow and deliberate sketch of the landscape that I remember before it leaves my mind.
Perfect. After all, if the memory isn't etched in stone, the best thing is to etch it in paper.
Yeah. I thought of making a little statue of it, but I was like, no, okay, that's that's too much.
We'll have to carve out time for that later. So, for now, Morgan, Kelly, you're looking around. Yeah, you see, when my brain isn't fully put into, like, making emotional scenes, my pun energy all comes back.
It left?
Yeah, last time there were barely any puns.
I mean, there still were some.
Eh.
You can't help it.
I mean, yeah,
I was merely reacting to the implication from what you said that it ever takes a moment to leave.
Oh, yeah, sometimes it takes a break.
I just assume it hides in the rafters and like Phantom of the Opera style until it needs to swoop down.
Some people fear drop bears. I fear the drop puns. So, Gally, you feel like you want to say something. Gally, you're looking around and you're trying to find. You were specifically looking for something last time, right?
Let's see. So I would like to just. Well, I like two things. One of them is probably much easier than the other. But I'm just the easy thing is just I want to grab a couple tools that are lying around. Things that maybe are useful for dismantling purposes. I don't know. I think I might need that later. So just back pocket thing. But then what I actually am looking for is basically I feel like Gally themselves doesn't quite understand what they're looking for, but to translate Gally's mixed emotions to something more actionable is that they're trying to find basically materials that were so basically either like a design journal or like the molds that were used to make their mentor Angra Stoll. Just there's like I feel like they're obsessed with it in a way, and they just want they want to know more, and they're not sure why, but there's lots of unprocessed stuff, and so they're hoping that there will be answers here. There probably won't be the answers they're like actually looking for, but they're looking anyway.
Okay, go ahead and give me a use your senses roll.
Okay.
I'm gonna say for Gally not being 100% certain what Gally themselves is looking for, this is probably gonna be optimistic.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because you're just kind of trusting your senses and hoping that things work out.
Okay, that makes sense. I was like, that should be one of the bad stats, and it is. 64. Ooh. what's the point of having bad stats is when I roll better than good ones. 9.
That was a D6 and a D4, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I rolled a 3 on the D4 and a 6 on the D6. I'm like, but why?
Unfortunately, I will not be assisting.
All right. Cool. Go ahead and ask one question.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm just flipping to the right tab.
It's like I did not expect to ask a question on this roll. What is that?
I was expecting
I
just
didn't
to like
expect-
have something
This is
happen.
big. I didn't expect to get this far, energy.
Oh. Okay. Oops. No, why'd I close it? Okay. All right. So I'm just thinking of the exact right way to phrase it. So, what impression do I get of the reasons behind Angras's creation, or like, basically, I want to get in the I actually don't know the creator's name or title, but like their thought process behind making him. Because I don't know, that seems like interesting.
Okay.
Since we don't have that much personal understanding of what this person's like.
Okay. Okay.
I can give you some ideas of what Angras is current or was like. When I
Sure.
knew
If you
him,
want
if
to
that
share some with
helps.
the audience, I'd love that.
So in short, Angras is basically was born with two things, or at least that's how he tells the story. In appearance, he just kind of looks like a Greek statue in a lot of ways. So if you think like or especially like if you have like the sculpture, like the bronze sculpture of David in your head, that's like kind of the right idea. Um, and so they basically have he frames the story as being born with two things: one, the knowledge that he is a god, and two, that he's really good at absorbing knowledge like a sponge and ideas like a sponge. He basically just woke up like that. And for him, waking up like that was he was just wandering around and suddenly memories started clicking in for him. And how his like life trajectory goes is basically maybe not the nice way of like I'm gonna go around and just like use everyone around me as stepping stones to get to the place where I deserve. And basically at some point he picks me up from a village because somewhere between kindred spirit and tool I can shape into a weapon, and basically uses that to try and basically go up against a god, beat that god down, and take that god's place in whatever way he feels is the most expedient.
Truly, this is the
Basically-
light episode.
Right? Super cash, no big deal.
So
And if you like want to think of like so his process is just like think like meritocracy in the most derogatory way you can apply that term, and that's really how you can picture him.
So Apocalypse,
Yeah,
basically from X-Men.
basically if Apocalypse started out as just like a statue and then was like I deserve to be Apocalypse and is trying to get there.
Oh God.
The worst part is sometimes
so-
he has good ideas.
So for our audience, basically the recap of that story is that he wanted to find another deity, and then say God riddance, and then take their role.
Exactly.
So, on that note, here's I think what you do find. You find some amongst the papers that are scattered behind. You find yourself like idly just sifting through them, and then you hit a stack that looks more solid, and you realize that they are actually kind of bound together, almost like a loose notebook. And it is a little hard to decipher. Not because it's in code or anything necessarily, but because it does not represent a journal or schematics or even a cohesive thought process, but rather scattered notes and half-thought sentences that were half scribbled down and half spoken out loud. The words on the page are not continued by the next page or even the one after that, but by words lost to the heavens and time. However, what you do find on the first page that's mostly cohesive and easy to grab without further deciphering is this notebook is a notebook of an attempt to create a rune to enhance the storage and absorption and propagation of knowledge. It is marked a experiment that has failed. And to figure out what that experiment was for, what happened, etc., will require some further digging and some translating between words, symbols, and filling in gaps. But you have it. You can take it. That is what you can use.
Grab all of it. Not literally all of it. Just
I mean, it's one thing, but yes.
Yeah, the metaphorical all of it.
Yes. Perfect.
Oh, were you gonna say something?
No.
Yeah, I was just gonna go talk to Small.
Cool. Yeah, you find them deep in sketching out this landscape, adding some chiaroscuro shading.
Hey, Tamal. Sorry to bother you. Do you know if
Sorry, I had a little vision there. Check this out.
What is this exactly?
Hopefully our next destination. I think this might be the temple shared some memories with me, and I think this might be where we need to go.
Oh. Interesting.
Thank you, Temple.
And I just stare at it for a second, not really committing it to memory, just as like taking it in as like, interesting. And then they like turn to you after that and say, do you know if this uses like a librarian's union organizational system or a dual decimal system, or I can't really find the organization here?
I think it might be more personal than that. I don't get the impression of the person who worked here as someone who liked to play by others' rules.
From across the room, you hear a voice say, "It sounds more like a don't-e decimal system. Ha, ha, ha." Fire bursts from the hands of each child again.
From the bird room, you do hear really loud.
For some reason, we're unable to tell if it was a bird making a call or if it was somebody laughing.
I'm fairly certain it was someone giving me the bird.
You don't get my phoenix. It's mine now. I don't care if it's made up. Custody. I will go to custody court over it.
Hey, it's fine. Tomorrow is a new day for it to be born again and make new decisions.
I'm born again and make the correct decisions.
Ooh.
Speaking
I
of
mean,
the
it's
Phoenix,
good it's being born again in the temple.
on that fun, let's get over to O and 8. What are y'all up to?
I guess we've kind of just been like vibing with Yolanda, a little jealous that like we can't touch the bird that's on fire. What can you give me like a visual? Like, are there a variety of other birds that are around us as well?
I throw that over to Yolanda.
I kind of think so. I imagine there's. I think it kind of covers the gamut since we're doing very cross-genre play with this anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a variety of like the kinds of size of birds that you would imagine superheroes would have at one point like chosen for their mounts. I think some of it has a very like fantasy-esque feel of like the eagles are coming, like size of bird, and like that kind of style of like deep kind of almost like russet brown kind of featherings to them and plumage. And then I think there's some where it goes more in the like Horizon Zero Dawn kind of direction, where some of it looks almost like like techno-organic in some ways, where there's pieces of the ends of plumage are just kind of like metallic. And it's hard to tell whether they're metallic because it's literal like pieces. Like maybe there's like some mixed positions between like birds that are fully organic and some that have maybe had construct elements added to them, because I kind of imagine if this room is potentially so close to the forge that some ideas might have been tested out on
They
some of the
bleed
birds
into each other. Yes.
but I think the color range is very vibrant no matter what, even when it's like the bioorganic sort of things or techno-organic birds. I think it's very bright hues, very strong lusters to all of the plumage. And I do think there's at least a couple that are like, you look at them and you're like, oh, that looks so pretty. And then as they get a little bit closer, you're like, oh no, that's the size of a condor. Please get it away. Because if you've ever seen a condor in real life,
Terrifying.
they're big. They're really, really big. Like their full wingspan and such is like a full human, like a very taller than average size human.
The door part of condor is pretty literal.
Actually, yes. No, that was a pun, but that's actually true. So it doesn't affect me. It's shield. Hell. But yeah, it's a lot of that. I think it's very bright. I kind of also
You
think
passed
some
your
of the-
condor save on that pun.
Boo.
Shield again. Nothing. It means nothing to me. I also kind of think there might even be like one or two stray birds that have a very like aquatic sort of element to them.
Okay.
Like some of them might have adapted almost like crustacean shells to them. Carcinization is in a way reached over here as well.
It all comes back to crab.
Knew you were gonna say that.
I felt in Alex's face the transition from wait, is she going? Yes, she is. God damn it.
Crab is the ultimate form of all life.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate bio weapon is a crab.
Okay. I think so. If those crustaceous birds have any feathers, so first off, O is definitely running around with like her little arms up in the air, trying to like reach the birds. And then after like stumbling, tripping on things, just not really being successful, they do end up picking a feather off the ground. But the feather is kind of I guess regular bird feathers are pretty water resistant. And she's gonna eat it and then try to shapeshift into one of those birds.
The crab bird specifically, or?
Uh-huh. So, it's casual. I'm using my my chimera powers. I am the stranded and the bound, after all.
How confident is Owen her ability to shapeshift?
She's pretty comfortable with like the things that she's consumed in the past, like most of the aquatic species that she can transform into. But something brand new, it's been a long time since
Right.
she's really attempted that.
For the amusement of all of us and our audience, why don't you go ahead and roll me and embrace your chimera?
Yeah. What, oh, I have conditions marked still, dang. Could I argue energetic?
I don't think that quite fits your approach here.
What is O's approach though?
I think O's approach,
Seems like optimistic to me.
yeah, is probably either optimistic or relaxed in this moment.
Okay, let's go up. Where am I? Yeah, optimistic.
Do you have a condition?
I have two conditions. I have upset and nervous
Okay.
from my previous experience.
Okay, so those don't affect optimistic, so you're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead and just roll.
8.
8?
Yeah. Right on spotting.
Great, cool. So, on a 7 to 9, you must select one of the options from below, which is either yourself or someone around you get hurt. Brace yourself if you are the target. Something important breaks in an unintended way. The situation escalates. The effect is only temporary or unstable. There is a price to pay for success.
Something definitely important breaks.
Something important breaks. Okay.
You're welcome. Oh goodness.
Okay.
She's never really attempted this in a public space, you know. She's
Go
always
ahead and
been
describe
in
your
the
transformation
water.
then. What does it look like as it succeeds?
Probably not super pretty. I'm getting a little bit of like OG werewolf vibes where it's just like and it turns into like whatever it is, but like it's a bird, so it's weird.
It's like
in fact,
Animorphs.
Yes,
That was
yes!
exactly where I went. I was like, what's unsettling, but like PG-15-ish kind of unsettling? It's somewhere in the range of Animorphs.
Baby's
Yes.
first body horror.
Oh, There's a reason I
Great.
couldn't read Animorphs
Okay.
as a kid. It did something weird to me. It wasn't good. So very, very strong Animorphs vibe. Like anybody watching the process would be utterly appalled. But if you look away for a second and then you look back and it's just like, oh, a smaller sized aquatic bird. Cool. With an octopus on its head. Mm-hmm.
Great, good. Okay. So here's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to outsource this for everyone to add me one detail. But this temple is creating this room, and the other comfort space is based on y'all's memories and desires. You are now a crab bird. This is now shifting the room to slightly create what the crab bird would see as a comfort space.
Uh-huh.
Everyone, go ahead and give me one detail for what a crab bird sees as its comfort space.
Hear me out. There are these things called water worms, WWs. They're not leeches. They're not that disgusting. They might even have like little smiley faces, but they're also so hecking tasty. So I'm so sorry for my humanoids. The floor is covered in water worms. They're like bright blue and they shimmer.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
Yeah, and tasty.
I'm just having flashbacks to Lion King during the scenes where they're eating
Yes!
grubs with the big ass juicy
Yep.
grubs. That one of them
Exactly.
is, it's not good.
No.
I have a detail to add in.
Yes.
I kind of imagine the bird likes to be able to fly, but likes the comfort of the sea nearby it. I'm imagining any of the like trees and or more domish terrarium sort of like landscape to this room is shifting to like the shoals or like the cliffside, like water by a cliffside. Like where you would feel the sea breeze very easily and be able to fly off somewhere, but like the kind of spot where like mussels or like clams would be like for like different tide
Oh, so the
zones.
gym.
Oh, and she's she gone. I'm here for it.
And then I think the obvious one then would be that over on the side of that, over towards where the ocean part would be, water just starts bubbling up out of a crack in the floor, and will continue flowing up until it fills an uncertain amount of the room.
Perfect.
And
Gali?
from that same location, a whole like pillar of it's just like wet, just like piece of rock that sticks out of the ocean now sticks out of this room suddenly, probably tearing out sections of the floor, to provide one of the natural habitats of the crab bird. And I just kind of imagine they lounge on these things like walruses,
Oh my
especially
word,
trying
yes.
to like lay on top of each other and all of that. And there's now
Aw.
several crab birds all on this like outcropping pillar.
Beautiful.
They like to sunbathe their shells, you know? Which kind of like stack on top of each other.
Yeah, so as we have a bunch of like crabs stacking on like furniture shells, or like a bookshelf. Pun get across good. So, yeah, that's the space. But you transform. Yolanda, you've been sitting there drawing. At this point, you see these transformations happening, and then one of the crab birds flying towards you.
I kind of imagine the bird just like climbs down, and I think she's still like, I don't actually think she's processed the transformation has happened, and I think for a second in her head she's like, no, something that makes you that happy doesn't go away that quickly, right? And then I think reality kicks in by the crab bird. I'm imagining its talons, like maybe like it varies among the species, where some of them are like fully taloned, but some of them have taloned like feet that are almost like claw-like.
Yes!
Yo, yes.
where like it just reaches out and it like I don't think it's very developed one. So I think it more ends up like bonking her on the nose when it's trying to like pinch her nose. But it gets the point across of like, well, I suppose this couldn't last. And she immediately turns around. She's like, oh.
Caw-caw! Clack, clack, clack. Caw-caw! Clack, clack, clack.
That would explain a few things. Just so you know for next time, whatever is in here is filled from what we like and what we know.
And then she goes and rolls on the pillar of water.
And apparently you really like this pillar of water.
It's a good place to sunbathe.
I think the wings come out, but like she like goes and like if you're okay with it, she like tries to like scoop you up in her arms. It's like we should probably get back to everybody. But I think you may have created a new. I think we've documented new behavior in this place that hasn't been seen for a while.
Clack, clack.
You've proven that even the temple is not unaffected by the inevitable carcinization of all life forms.
Yes. It all comes back to crab.
I am the ultimate life form. Clack, 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 clack.
A weapon to surpass metal crab.
I was waiting for somebody to do it.
I think awesome.
The only type of shells I need are crab.
Don't want to be selfish about it.
So we had clawsome and shellfish in a row.
I have my areas of expertise, you know.
You specialized in this, you have proficiency in this, and then you have like moderate understanding of these other things. But they're less important. You don't need those. You'll let me worry about it, or you'll let Tamal or Gally worry about those.
That's teamwork.
I think
if you
she leaves.
have to worry about too many areas of expertise, you get crabby. On that note,
she leaves the room, starts walking towards Tamal and Gally.
Yeah, Tamal, Gally, you're still in the middle of your conversation. What do they walk in on? Y'all were talking about the book and how it was organized.
We're probably trying to reshuffle the papers in a way that makes sense and failing really badly. Because there is no order because there's just lots of missing information.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just like putting two pieces together and we're reading the bottom, the top of the next page, and it's reads something like, well, if we consider it from the perspective of a flame's heat frozen at the top of the icy tundra. What? That's wrong.
Nice. So I think we turn around, hearing the sound of clacks and caws as you come in. Is that O? I'm assuming that must be O.
Yes.
Clack, clack. And then they're gonna like tumble out of your arm. And I'm trying to recall. I believe it was like a what is the word of a thing you wear around your neck?
A necklace? An
An
amulet?
amulet?
Necklace was the word. Thank you.
Nice.
Mhm.
You had half of the word already. Question.
So close.
Yeah. So what is this thing you put around your neck that is often on a lace? I don't.
What's this shirt I'm wearing that it has kind of like a
Like-
T pattern to it?
What are those pants you wear that are like shorter than like long pants? They're like short pants. Yeah, yeah.
Shorts.
That doesn't sound right.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Hey, but let's be fair. At least when it comes to English, there's certain pronunciations and certain like forms of words that make no sense. Like any English speaking person that looks at the word hors d'oeuvres and how it's actually spelled.
Oh, you mean
just
hors d'oeuvres?
Horrors d'oeuvres.
hors d'oeuvres.
I, as a kid, knew that hors d'oeuvres were a thing, but I also thought there was a whole different concept of what hors d'oeuvres were. It's two things.
Same.
To get us back to our hors d'oeuvres of business, yeah, you two walking on them, the clacking sounds as they're shuffling papers. Yolanda, I don't think has Yolanda ever seen the eye review doing anything resembling research, like of this nature?
I don't think so. I think
Like-
there's a moment where the sound that all of us are making when we say the not correct way of saying hors d'oeuvres, even though I think the correct way of saying is fake, like where all of our brains just kind of fizzle out trying to say some of the letters. I think that's kind of where she's at in terms of facial expression. She has the like little pinwheel loading screen, loading icon thing like on her face effectively.
You're like, I'm the bookish nerd. What's happening here?
I didn't even think it was that. I think it was like you're doing a thing that involves, I think it's more she's insulted of you're doing a thing involving books again and not involving me
Oh, what's
again.
happening?
I thought it was gonna be a Gallery can read kind of realization.
Okay, I thought that. I didn't say it because I respect you. If I didn't respect you,
But you have been wondering it.
I have
But it
been
was at
wondering.
the top of your tongue.
It was there.
You just didn't have
and
the
then-
galley to ask. The gall to ask. There we go. It's better.
See, it didn't
I
hit as
got it
hard
bef-
because
I
you
got it
fucked
before
up
the
the
credit.
saying. Okay, so that we don't give Captioner struggles and stress trying to process like three of us talking. This is a bad idea for us to do that. I think she just directly goes, "What are all of you looking at?" Or rather, what are you two looking at? Don't worry, this is O. She's expanding her shape-shifting
Clack.
collection.
Ah! And as you introduce her as that, she kind of like tumbles out of your arms and like there's a bit of puff of feathers and like you hear the clatter of the her shell hitting the ground. And then the stopper of water kind of like undoes itself. And as they douse themselves in water, for a second they turn all crab-like just like a crab on the ground. And then they turn back into O and like 8 flops to the ground. And just like, oh, whoops, there, gotta pick you up. Can't have your noodles touching the ground. Oh, hi, I'm back. That was a lot of fun.
Is
Well-
anyone
Welcome back.
is anyone else imagining some variation of like rapidly shuffling between some version of Parasect to then Krabby or like Kingler
That's
and then
so
back
cute.
to Parasect
Yeah.
and then like doing is it just me? Am I the only one imagining that?
It's now in my head.
I love them, so yes.
I think she walks over to like Gallia and Tamal and it's like, is there something here of importance we can take a look at?
Well, that remains to be seen, but I did have a magic vision of where we should go to follow my creator, so that's pretty neat. Check it out. Do you recognize this place? And I show you the spires of ice and sand, was it?
I think it was that's what you said, Amr. It was ice and sand.
Ice and sand.
I think for the first time in a while, she pulls out a few books without setting them on fire this time. And
Seems fake, but okay.
she's turned over a new leaf. Okay. Deal with it. I think she sets it down and starts comparing, and then if Gally also offers the book, I kind of wonder, is it like a look of confusion on your face, just trying to parse out the big collection of things, or what is it?
It's definitely just the I've got it. Oh, I got it. No, it's not right either. Trying to make sense of where sense doesn't exist, because it's like trying to put together 4 words together, except you only have one of them.
Oh, I this is not her. This is not me saying the results of her looking at it. This is just me imagining her attitude for looking at it. You know, those looking at it, and it's like, I see, grad student writings. And just starts like setting everything out, and I think there's also probably a big like huge blush forming across her face, because she's like, I think probably people can pick up this sense she's probably writes like this, or used to write the exact same way.
Nice.
I think you'll probably hear her muttering. It's like, no, I didn't write this. Okay, yes, I ended sentences halfway, but they connect back. There's just an or. Okay, well, maybe this doesn't make sense.
So, Yolanda, do you have a translation of this arcane manuscript for us, by any chance?
I mean, I feel like translation is a bit strong. It's clear.
And then Gally starts to move to the other side of you in an effort not to get spited or smited, because they didn't realize that this was a touchy subject. Or construct design was a touchy subject for you. Which they completely are misreading the situation.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sorry that, like, is it a personal thing to talk about construct, and not the whole, like, you've insulted her way of writing?
It's like, oh, is that the one field that you just don't do well or something?
It's like two insults in one just happened, and I insulted her writing and suggested that she didn't know about a thing. Amr, if I'm taking time to look through this and do comparison with my books, would that merit let me pull up the dang old thing. I think it's book learning.
Ooh.
In this case.
Let's see. Yeah, read that book learning out loud again for me.
When you are researching something intently, roll with logical. On a hit, you're able to find relevant information. On a 10+, you gain a deeper insight. Take advantage forward when acting upon it.
Cool. Go ahead and roll that for me.
Okay. Just double check. I believe it's double d8s for that one, because I put so much into logical. So let's see how that goes. Oh, holy bananas. That's 11.
Perfect. Okay, so you start to arrange it, and it becomes very clear. The solution becomes very clear to you, and it also becomes evident that you're going to need a little bit more time and space than is afforded here. You could easily uncover this when you get back to the base. Like, you won't even have to roll. You'll get all your answers then. But you start to get a glimpse of the pattern. Here's what you're able to pick up from the pages you're able to easily lay out now. What you were able to pick out is that as part of attempting to advance their construct creation skills, they tried to create a rune to help absorb knowledge and or extrapolate from their existing knowledge, so that they didn't have to rely solely on making constructs as a way to gain new information on the effects of different runes and constructions.
They wanted like more rapid prototyping than I built a whole new person to do this.
And or essentially a magical AI to run simulations on construct creation based on the previous knowledge they have of constructs.
Cool.
To try to make their construct testing more optimal. More information on how that went, I'll give it to you after the session.
Right.
Wait, did you just make a God in the Machine joke that no one's noticing?
I
don't know
didn't
what we're
touch
talking
it. Oh dang.
Days save me. Days save me.
This is why we show up, let's be honest.
What, the puns or Angela's reactions?
Both? Yes.
Combo is chef's kiss.
Why must everyone take joy in me making the emote and physical demonstration of
Your
the
emotes are
stressed
just so
out
good.
white furred monkey?
You're just such a good performer.
Every time. Okay, so I think she will start to like saying it out loud, like everything she's breaking down for what she's able to parse out in the immediate, and then you're like, okay, that's unnecessarily complex, and I'm remembering that people actually don't understand it when I do that. Simple terms: blueprints, automated blueprints, essentially, to make this faster. I think she tries to convey that kind of idea of that, like, this was just a way of like almost effectively having a self, it's like in my head, I'm kind of imagining it as almost like a autonomous like manual for like construct making in a way. Like that was the goal that they were shooting for. Not solely limited to that sphere of like information or knowledge, but that's the rough gist that I think she tries to get across. It's like especially talking to Tamal, she wants to be like very clear about it. It's like imagine if you had the means to just keep making any of your tools of their own volition, not because they have their own will, but you could just automate that or just have it happen much faster.
That's cool. Yeah, you can tell that she's very like fascinated by the idea. And she says, "This is all very strange to me because I've often thought of my creator as this sort of unknowable, almost omniscient figure, and to think that the end goal of their creation is to make something greater than themselves is very interesting. I suppose it only makes sense, but it had never occurred to me before."
I mean, being perfectly honest, I don't know if it occurred to them. My sense is if they're like any other remotely brilliant mind that they shoot for, oh, this is obviously a clearly good idea that it couldn't have no ramifications because I obviously know what I'm doing, and it's always gone right for every single time someone has had that thought. Correction, it has never gone right when someone has had that thought. So it's never worked in that way.
Yolanda, does it say anything about why it was considered a failure?
I will probably need more time back at the base to look through it and parse it out in more detail. This is just me getting a sense of the writing style, which she does like one of these very visibly, is remarkably akin to my own from a few years ago.
Oh, okay. When you take a look at it next, could you just let me know and I'll come over? And here is like Gally being more interested. Like this is like very much a noticeably more interested than you normally see a Gally, and it would probably be suspicious to you.
Wait, Gally, do you not want to go? I thought we were going to take a nap by the water.
Oh,
you
yeah,
said we would take a nap.
And Gally kind of like snaps out of it, and it's just like, oh yeah, we can go do that. We can do that first, and then we can look at the word scribble thing later.
Yeah, that looks really boring.
Then turns back to Yolanda. I mean thesis. I'm sorry.
At this point, there's just a shuffling from behind you. Oh, is that the I overheard you talking. Is that the blueprints for the memory runes? I remember he had something like that back. Said something about using it to map neurons and then study and then imprint all your memories into a stone, and then you could use that to replicate them.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah, that sounds about accurate.
I like to imagine Gally is the most confident of everyone saying it.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Amr, what does taking a look at the map that Tamal found though, the sketch that Tamal did, does that match up with anything I have immediately within reach of like book knowledge, or is that also something that would require a return back home to evaluate?
I think you are able to recognize that. It is one of the other islands on the floating archipelago. Think not one that you have traveled to, but one that, as someone who studied a bunch of things, would have come across because it is notable for a few reasons, whether it be from a geographic angle, from a magical angle, and namely, as mentioned, notable coexistence of heavy snows and ice, and and uh and a very traditional desert. Um, it
You-
feels like you're moving through a desert with the heat and the temperatures. It goes through the same like expected things. Like the nights get cool, the days are hot and arid. The winds blow in the same way. The same creatures tend to grow. You can. It wasn't in anything that Tamal showed you, but like there are cactuses and the like there. Um, and yet, there is the ice. Always. Occasionally it snows. But even when it doesn't, even when it is sweltering hot, there is the ice intermingled with the sand. Um,
Nice. I imagine Yolanda has seen some spreads of
Yes,
that
very
in
ice indeed.
Magical Geographic.
yes, magical geographic. Um,
The article is called Permafrost.
I personally prefer the travel magazine Archipelago myself. Wow, only Navy? Wow.
No,
That one didn't land as well for me.
I see. I was
Everyone's a critic.
imagining more stoogey, like stodgy, like uptight title to it. So it's like it's island, not IO.
Sounds a little
Really?
washed up, but I'm here for it.
Oh. That's actually the name of
A
another.
little ice for that burn.
That's actually the name of another travel magazine, Island.
Don't worry, I promise it's not staring back at you the entire time you're reading the magazine.
Oh, gross. Amazing.
I made Amr put their hood down for a moment. I've won.
I
No,
think
no, I
that
was putting
an-
this down.
I think it was an eye joke.
Yeah.
Was in Alex got it.
An
Alex-
island.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was.
Yeah.
I
No,
was
no, Amr's the hood.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
for her eye.
You thought you got me, but no.
Damn
I
it.
added physical comedy to my puns.
See me slowly like leap back up into the rafters. Just you wait. Just you wait.
I'm like, I feel like I've become some sort of like your pun final boss at this point.
Feels that way sometimes.
I feel like given your propensity and like mastery of punnery, it's more like secret final boss that's harder than the actual end story
Yeah.
final boss.
Yeah.
I
The
feel like it's
ruby
more-
weapon.
I also do have a transformation. You haven't actually seen my more
Is
pun form.
this not your final form?
No. That one's obviously crabs.
Okay, cats, everyone, cats. Let's corral one another back into an actual point in our story.
So, yeah, you recognize this island.
Okay. I have a sense of where we need to go. I'm not the most familiar with this. This is a bit beyond my full purview, but I have a sense of where we would need to go and some of the dangers. But again, geographical and ecological understandings of certain islands is not particularly what I focused on. But
Well, we'll have plenty of chances to talk it over and figure it out once we get back to the base.
yes, I imagine the whale is waiting, not mating for us. That's too very different.
Wait a second.
I misspoke.
Yeah, let's go see if our waiting whale is there.
And thank you, Temple, for all of your help.
Thank you, Temple.
Greatly appreciated.
In,
I hope we see each other again in the future. I guess.
Do you happen to have a calling card?
uh, by way of response, the temple just vanishes.
Nice.
And you
Are we
suddenly-
like?
We
Are
were 10
above
feet
the
in the
ground?
air the whole
you
time.
are
so-
you are about one like temple floor height above the ground. So like
Perfect.
just a tiny bit.
Whoop. Hit the ground.
Slam.
Did-
I definitely am now like a couple inches into the ground because I am like 1,000 pounds. Just have to step out of 2-foot shaped craters.
Gally
Oh,
helps pull you out.
You need 2 people, 1 on each arm.
Glad I didn't tip over there. That would have been very embarrassing. Not like this, which was not embarrassing at all. Just regular.
That was kind of funny. We made it. We're back. I don't see. Is the whale invisible? Camouflage?
Is it up? Should we look up?
Just point in a different direction where I assume it would be.
Amr, please tell me it's just a case of is looking in this direction. If I just point her over like 90 degrees this way. Yes.
Oh. Whoa. Oh. It's silly me. I just forgot to look behind me.
It was a sea snake. It would have bitten you.
Probably. Have you ever been bit? Sometimes when you get bit by a snake, you turn into a snake. It's really wild.
That does not happen to me. But I don't think I'm very appetizing for snakes either.
Ah, okay.
I think that might be a shape-shifting side effect of it.
Oh, maybe. I've never really thought about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the opposite of a shapeshifter. I'm just a shape stay the samer.
Whoa. You've never been a different shape?
Not as far as I know. I mean, I maybe I was like a big block at one point before I got carved.
I'm going to make you a hat. And that hat is going to change the shape of all of you. Would you like a hat?
That sounds amazing. I've never worn a hat. You'll, I suppose, have to accommodate the fact that my large curly hair is made of stone, so it's not going to smoosh down like normal hair would, but that's very interesting.
Oh, that's no big deal. Lots of people from where I'm from, they have coral for hair.
Oh,
Can you imagine working with coral?
a challenge
Super
for the
easy.
millionaire.
Mm-mm. Been doing this my whole life.
I look
Okay.
forward to it.
Homeward.
Yes, let's coral this group back together again and get you on this whale. So
Whale time.
as the flying whale bus takes us back to space and onto our superhero guild base, we're gonna cut to the landing pad where y'all land on the back of a giant whale onto the superhero base, and waiting there for you is your team leader, and she's wearing her full outfit, top hat and all, and Sayrish just smiles and goes, "Welcome home."
Hi. Oh, do we have a story to tell you? I don't even remember what you sent us out for, but we definitely accomplished something.
Yes, we stayed on mission the whole time.
Did
We
we?
never got split up, and no, that was a joke. We didn't do that at all.
Oh, that was
We all
funny.
got to have our own little personal adventures. I mean, I did. Did you all have little personal adventures? I just assumed that. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. We should talk about that when we're inside. Mine was horrible. I'll tell you all about it.
Oh dear.
She slowly turns over to Yolanda.
And I like turned to Sarah. She's like, "We did actually complete
Yeah.
the mission eventually."
She turns to Yolanda and Gally. Okay. I'm assuming one of you two can actually give me a report.
Oh, I made friends with the temple. That was like my little sub goal.
And then she says louder, I will gladly read your notes, O, as official note taker.
Yeah.
You think I
Yo,
forgot? I
and
didn't.
I like jump in front of be like, oh yeah, delegated the task to me, of course.
Cyril, like, very subtly has a oh thank God face, but like out loud will be like very professionally, oh good, well I will be sure to address you for the notes.
Me as a player is just a meta comment on all of this. Just want to be like, what are you two doing? If you're gonna pass the buck, pass it to someone who's done the job, not to someone else who hasn't done the job. That's how you pass the buck. You don't screw over more people. You screw over the one person who you're certain will make sure you get out of trouble.
Well, the thing is that Gally was the one that told O to take notes in the first place, so they feel guilty about
That
it
is
and
so
so
great.
took the blow.
Oh my gosh.
That makes sense. That
Just
that
as well
makes
O forgot.
Did O
Heroes don't
forget or
have a
did
lot
D
of
forget?
experience at making people into the fall guy.
Alright, well, we can sort that out in a minute. I don't think there's anything urgent right now. I just was here to give you a warm welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm glad to hear your mission was successful. Shall we head inside?
Yeah, I think that'd be so nice. I'm getting ready for a nap. It's gonna be so good.
And we also have a follow-up destination. I look at Yolanda for the in regards to what we discovered while we were on our quest. Thinking because Gally doesn't know what the right word would be for this. Oh wait, mission, right?
Mission, quest, all are applicable. Technically, we put them in this quest for the guild system. It's a lot easier since, well, the adventuring guilds set it all up first, and trying to define a new category is a whole hassle. But y'all don't really come here for the bureaucracy talk, I don't think.
No.
But we did earn plenty of experience. Says,
However, I'm assuming you probably are here for dinner? Yes?
Yes, that would be agreeable.
Well,
There's
Spent the whole day in a cave. Oh, I'm so sorry, Yolanda. I got really excited. Go ahead.
no. I think she just has the look of to quote streamer friend of mine, she has the academics version of the phrase deep ancestral sigh.
I know exactly what you're quoting here.
You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, that's great.
So it's like it's one of those like full body like sighs, but where her head just sort of lands against an open book that she has floating like above her hand. It's like closes it. We recovered some materials and some distressing implications about what the temple might have been used for at one point.
Well, will those distressing implications be any more or less distressing in about an hour?
It will depend. Are you going to do something
Oh, I was
to remind me of them suddenly, and or do something else? And I think she like tries to like snap her fingers to make sure this isn't an illusion in front of her.
Okay, yeah, you definitely need some food.
It's been a very long day.
Also, Gally looks between the two of them because it sounded to Gally like Yolanda just asked Sharish out on a date.
It did
Doing
start that
anything
way.
about
I was
it?
like, I thought for a second you were going with Yolanda being just suddenly way too tired and getting direct.
Oh, dang.
But it did it. Like, it ended up you clarifying. But it.
I'm willing for one of the things that she didn't mean for to happen to be that. I think that's far funnier.
Perfect. Anyways, on that note, we're going to cut to y'all at a dinner. Y'all are eating food that is a just mix of a soup, a bunch of vegetables. Tamal has a custom dish of I don't know. What does Tamal eat?
I was just wondering that. I think she has regular food, but she just like picks it up and like examines it closely and then like opens up her tummy portal to the fire and like puts it in there and then like closes it up and doesn't exaggerate, like yum yum, delicious.
My word, that is so precious.
Good.
Oh, probably just sits there and just watches you like, do it again, do it again.
Then what I think Tamal specifically has is like food that is more easily doable that with. Like it's not a bunch of noodles, so you're not just like digging your hands into like spaghetti bolognese and just like getting red sauce all over you and just like tossing it into your stomach like.
And occasionally just like a block of wood or something, and I'm like,
there's some actual coal.
Delicious.
Now I have to ask this question. I'm sorry in advance, Angela. The main course. What is Yolanda's favorite dish? She hasn't told her this, just for the record. She doesn't have to have told her.
No, I know. I figured as much. I think it's a very specific like regional variation of like a creamy Alfredo sort of dish, like inspired kind of dish, but it's a variation where like I think I've recalled seeing videos where people have complained about the Pixar movie Ratatouille, where they say, oh, the ratatouille at the end of it isn't like the actual like proper way you do it, and other people are like, no, this is just like a regional variation or like another specialization of doing that. Think more the emotive element of the climax of that movie, where it leads to a main character having like a big epiphany, like flashback to childhood. I think that's why it's her favorite. It's because it always brings her back to a very happy moment from childhood that I don't think she remembers too many very happy moments. Not because she didn't have them. I think she just doesn't remember them. Because I myself, I don't remember a lot of childhood at times because my memory is goldfishy, as I believe B has designated it at times. But it's something like that, and it's probably paired with like probably like a very like spinachy kind of green in it that mixes in very well and like cooked in at the end like that, and some mushrooms.
So we cut to like a decent chunk of the way into the meal. Y'all have given her a recap at this point. She's going, so then the entire room became a crab paradise? Is that what I'm getting?
It was so nice. Felt really warm, really moist, watery, lots of area to flap around and clack around, you know?
I missed that. That sounds wild. Wow.
Oh, yeah. The other birds, I don't know how they felt. They were kind of bristling their feathers, and I remember feeling like they were jealous, but I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't think that setup was going to particularly fly with them.
Three people just holding back different expressions of
You know what they say, crabs of a carapace flock to Garapus.
That is the wow, Tamal. That is the exact thing.
He smiles.
That was really good.
Reaches across the table and grabs an empty bowl, and goes, so you know, I learned a bunch of different illusion tricks and done a bunch of cons in my life before I ended up here. But do y'all want to know what a crab's favorite con is?
Do you mean like a convention?
No, like a scam, like a trick you use to deceive someone and pull one over them.
What is a crab's favorite con?
At this point, she has grabbed 3 bowls, and she just grabs an apple, puts it under one of the bowls, and starts shuffling them around, and smiles. Shell game.
Shell game.
Beautiful.
You were so excited, Morgan.
I was like, I figured it out ahead of time. I got it.
I mean,
I knew what the game was. I just didn't remember what it was called.
Crabs like find the lady.
Good, thank you. Thank you. O is in awe. What happens next?
The apple's not been revealed yet. You're just like, it's under a bowl?
Oh, well.
What?
I think it's just
Well,
someone just
you
like,
pick. Which bowl has this apple? All of you can pick one. Go ahead.
Tamal,
1, 2, 3. Just say a number.
Tamal, which
3.
one do I pick? And she's like
number
smacking
2.
your arm. Two, definitely 2.
And she looks at the others.
3.
Kamal.
I also picked 2.
Oh wait, and then never mind.
She just looks at Yolanda silently.
1, then 3, then 4.
She smiles as she flips over all the bowls with nothing in them. And then pulls out her top hat where the apple's in.
Whoa!
That bowl just has a portal in it. I already know about portal magic. This is very simple.
And then she rolls the apple out of her top hat, does an exaggerated, like, roll it across her arm, and does, like, a half bow and passes it to Yolanda. Yes, I turned a pun into a flirt. What of it?
You can't be this. And this is her speaking, not me. You can't be this ridiculous and this endearing at the same time.
She just smiles. I can be whatever things I am and whatever things you want me to be, all at the same time. And drops the apple down. Hope the meal's good.
It's my favorite.
I turn to Gally, who's sitting on the other side from me, and I'm like, hey, are they flirting? Is that flirting that they're doing? I'm still studying flirting. I don't really understand the nuance, but I'm pretty... I mean, did you see that? I'm speaking very loudly.
I think as an extra element of ridiculous, you hear like a few rooms away just echo, because we've established this is like a cavernous like shell base and such. You hear the sound of like several thuds as though inexplicably many floating books far off in the distance just fell out from the air and hit the ground.
And in the silence, Gally just whispers to Tamal, like, "Oh, Tamal, part of the ritual for observers is talking about it later in a separate room."
And on that note,
that makes sense. Okay.
I think that is the perfect way to bookend this session.
Hey.
The last shot, if this was like a comic book panel, you just see like her eyes just slowly turning to like red, orange, and yellow, and the wings coming out, but it's like big like grump feel. She's like,
alrighty. On that note, let us everyone do your sign-offs. So, starting once more with our wonderful Angel.
I've lived yet again through machinations most punny and absurd on this occasion. Hello there, everybody. I'm Angela. Obviously, I played Yolanda. And you can find me on Twitter at Phoenix24Fem, where I share, typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays, both older poetry that I've written and a newer poetry that tends to go up around 7 p.m. EST, 4 p.m. PST on Thursdays. As I recently, this past Thursday, just put up my 200th poem that's been published on Patreon, as that's been a long time coming. I thought this would be a point I'd be reaching hopefully by the end of the year. I'm 6 months early. This is a rarity for me. But I am also in the midst of a week-long break, mostly. I'm on a break about the same amount of time that B has schedule time free. You know, it happens. I'm sure it exists, but you know. Also, if you want to check out any of my upcoming projects, I have been releasing playbooks inspired by Final Fantasy XIV and just the Final Fantasy series in general, converting a lot of very famous archetypes from that series over to Slayer's playbooks. And I'm about almost halfway through the 17 classes I need to make until fall comes around. I have 7 done, and I'm making the Summoner next. It takes a while, people. It takes a while, especially when you're learning Canva on the fly to do the images yourself. And also a recent episode that just came out of Queerly Yours, the relationship podcast I do with my partner of almost 10 years now, where we go through newlywed and bachelorette quizzes with interesting results of how we respond to them, and it oddly goes from absurd and us groaning to us being super cute and super affirming of one another because we love each other a lot and we're just really gay because that happens a lot. But to close that off, if you also want to commission me for music commissions, you can find my email, check out my link tree on my Twitter and such. And also, I'm over at All Nerds here and obviously here in Utopia and Friends Who Roll Dice. I'm in a lot of different places now. I am nearly as busy as B is. Nearly. No one can ever actually. B is the platonic ideal of scheduling oneself for games. That's me.
Perfect. I started listening to Queerly Yours recently, and I'm tempted to just skip ahead to the latest episode because that pitch sounds very hysterical and great. All right. Next up, Morgan.
Hello, I'm Morgan. You can find me on Twitter at map_mirror, and the games I should hopefully start writing soon. nestedgames.io. I'm not really up to much right now, mostly because I'm spending the time recovering, and hopefully soon I will start working on things. And you'll probably find out watching just a future episode, so stay tuned, I guess.
Simple, quick, nice. Alex.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex. You can find me on Twitter at @AFractalDragon, and I design games at fractaldragon.itch.io. We are going to be playing my game Dragon Hearts on the podcast Forever GM coming up, so check that out. It's number 4 Ever GM. It's going to be super fun. Going to get some art commissioned of our cute dragon people. It's going to be amazing. And also keep an eye on All Nerds Here, where the Disaster Crew is going to be playing Hardwired Island. I'm going to be like a cool android repair shop guy that should be fun and nice. And my game design podcast, Unplaytested, is chugging along, putting out cool stuff. We are going to be putting out in just a couple days Soul Crushers, the game of people who sort of can't really escape their terrible capitalist jobs by going out and like hunting monsters and doing fantasy stuff.
Yeah, that sounds very cool.
Oh yeah, and I was just on some great Pride Month episodes of Protean City Comics, doing my second hero on there, El Demonio Llorando, the masked wrestler who is a cool crying demon with horrible shape-shifting powers. It's amazing. And playing with Simon Luchadolibris, who does an amazing job as well. It's great. Check it out.
Heck yeah. And then finally, let's see if Angela's claims are true. B, are you more busy right now?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
No.
All right. Hello. I am your non-binary busy bee. You can follow me on Twitter as @B_Zelda. I am a podcaster, a member of the Broadswords, a 5e D&D actual play podcast. I also host a show called Anime Attaché, where I teach 2 anime newbies all about what amazingness anime is, and we're starting with My Hero Academia. As well, if you are inclined to follow a lot of the content that I make, Our Play is also available as a podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. As for my streaming schedule, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be streaming on Wasabi Anime's channel, teaching a bunch of anime nerds about how amazing the tabletop world is and that kind of connection. And I get to be interviewing Ash Kruder, who has written The Watch, Our Wandering Home, as well as apparently a game about Sailor Moon that they've just never been able to speak about. So we're going to talk about Sailor Moon for an hour straight. This Sunday, literally tomorrow, is the premiere of Season 3 Power Play. So stay tuned if you like the story or if you just want to see what wonderful robot makeup I can do. And last but not least, I'm very excited to announce that I will be appearing on D&D Beyond for a Pride Month special with some really cool panelists. You will have to stay tuned to find out. That's it for now.
That's it? You sure?
Yeah, I kept it small.
And then there's this, and then some secret stuff. So like, there's still more. But yeah, there you go. Okay, and then finally we go around back to me, who is, hi, I'm Amar Emraz. I am your host, game master, co-designer of this game, which is available on the internets at play.chimera.games. I also do other things nominally. You can follow those on my Twitter at Amaraz. I am also on the Protein City Pride Month, which I think, if I know my scheduling right, by the time this is out, the first of my episodes with my new character for that will be out. So check that out. Other than that, you can catch me on most Saturday mornings on the Lark Network on Super Splash of Color whenever our GM's electricity allows it. We play a wonderful game of Masks that is gearing up for a lot of drama. One of our teammates has to go pretend to kill someone to trick the villains into thinking they're on their side, but also save the person's life because the person would die otherwise. It's a great time. Come check it out. Also, the villain in question is the person's mom. Okay, did we mention that?
How many Young Justice storylines did you just like pull out for like one episode?
My character has a habit of disappearing mid-conversation, and also has contingency plans to take out every other hero in the city. So I will answer that with that.
Fair.
But yeah, that's it. Otherwise, you can catch me on some Sundays, I believe, including the Sunday after this airs, on Arvin Elron with Brendan as our GM. Brendan O'Brien as our GM of Sound Clash. We are gearing up for our Sound Clash coming to a head. We played our first session and it was great. We performed the song. It was magical. And there will only be more times. We made the heavens split open and magic stars fall across the audience. Yeah, right? Exactly. That's it.
Did you make the sky go on fire?
No, our song name was called like Starfall, I believe. So no sky on fire. But that's it. Otherwise, not too much game design things that I'm putting out right now. Though I am working stuff. Then, yeah, the only last thing I have to say is keep being aware of issues that are going on. I'm still trying to keep awareness of Palestine going on, but that's not the only thing. A while back I put out a thread on Myanmar, which is another important issue to keep an eye out and try to support if you can. And then obviously there are local issues to wherever you live. If you live in Canada, there was recent events that I'm not going to get into details of because that can be triggering for some people. Live in the US, there is almost always something going on, whether it be anti-black violence, anti-Asian violence, etc. So don't fall into complacency about assuming that the issues are dealt with because people are not talking about them. That's it. At this point, hopefully, our wonderful producer and host of this amazing channel will have us ready for a raid. Thank you so much for coming. At this point, I would like you to disentangle your swords and unforge your capes, melt down your capes. Thank you so much. Goodbye.